This is a fish carburetor. They're fairly rare carburetors. If you're familiar with the history of stock car racing, Fireball Roberts was sponsored by Fish carburetors. And he was one of the only ones, I think, that really ran these and was successful with them. I'm not sure which model this is. I know they had the models M1, M2, and M3, I believe. This one in particular is from the 50s. This belonged to my grandfather, who also raced as part of a team in NASCAR for about a little more than a decade. This one in particular is from the 50s. I've got a little bit of information on their team. They also ran these Fish carburetors and were successful with them. They won in 1957, 60, and 61 in the modified division. If you kind of search the Putty Hill Garage Racing Team, you'll find my website. I've got some write-up and some pictures of them. And you'll see in the 1960 to 61 era of their team, the Nightcrawlers, where they won back-to-back modified championships. You'll see a picture of the Mercury engine in the 57 Ford that they ran with a Mercury engine and 3 Fish carburetors on it. Fish carburetors are pretty unique. They're pretty simple. They were intended to be more efficient, to be streamlined. You don't see a whole lot around and a whole lot of information on them. There's a video I watched recently. I think his channel was Hot Rod Workshop, where he does a really nice job of taking one of these apart and walking through. And I learned quite a bit from that video. It's pretty simple. You've got the throttle linkage there, as you typically would, and the adjustment there at idle and wide open. But then you've got the butterfly on the inside. Right now it's completely closed. I'm gonna put down this float side that I have here. And you'll see the 3 holes there. That's actually where the fuel's coming through, right through the butterfly. So when you open it, it's just spraying fuel in, right? And the farther open the butterfly is, the more air, the more oxygen, more air comes in and mixes with that fuel. If I come over along to the side here, I set down, this is my fuel that I just had, or the float that I just had in my right hand there. And then you've got this plate up here between the other side, between that float and then this arm in here. And this is really cool the way they do that, because this eliminates some of the other adjustments you'd make on any other carburetor. You've got this arm, and you sort of got this machined pocket in here. Right now, again, it's all the way closed. If once I open it all the way up, it kind of rides along that groove, and you can see it's shallow. If I can get the focus on it a little bit. That groove down there is shallow, and the farther you open it, the more open it gets until you're way up here, right? You're wide open. And when you do that, right, you open this wide up, you've got that pocket in there that creates a pressurized system to really force the fuel and air mixture in, and rides up that arm and through the inside there, and then again right out through the butterfly there on the top. Now on the plate itself, so you've got an open hole here on this side. So let's put that back in there for a minute. You can see that, right? That sort of gets blocked off a bit with that arm when it's fully closed. And you've got this bolt on the other side to the other hole there. And that actually has this little flap in there that helps to close that. So when that's pressurized, it's going to close that flap so it doesn't pull more air in. But this is still wide open, right? And then it pulls it through the groove and everything else. So just kind of 2 different ways it pulls air in and changes as that arm opens. Let me set this back in here. There is a gasket that goes between the 2 sides there. All right, now for the float side of the Fish carburetor. All right, so on the other side of this plate and the gasket, so you've got the fuel line coming in the top, and you've got the float. And this is kind of cool that I'm sort of learning about now as I took this apart a bit. You've got that little ball up there that actually blocks the fuel. So the float, once it starts to fill up this space in here, and the float comes up and pushes that ball in the tube to block that. So you can actually adjust how much fuel is coming out and how long it takes, right, before it blocks off the fuel, just on maybe bending this arm there a little bit. So you can change, slight adjustments on how that works, and maybe affect how much fuel is still coming in when you're wide open. And then for adjustments, you've really only got, again, other than the 2 on this side here at the linkage, where you're adjusting your and the only other real adjustment is over here on the idle screw right there, where you're adjusting the flow that can circumvent the butterfly. And you can see the other side of that right there, that little opening right on the edge of the butterfly. So I've only got it open maybe a quarter turn right now. Now it looks like I closed it, but I had it open about a quarter turn. The only thing that I'm really trying to figure out right now with this one, it idles really well, but I have an issue right now when I hit the gas hard and quickly, it sort of bogs down and kind of just gargles. And I don't know if it's the carburetor. Maybe it's something I need to adjust with the float and that ball there. Maybe it was closing too early, something like that. Or if I've got another issue to sort out. But I thought while I had it apart, this would be a good time to walk through this really cool carburetor that you don't really see a lot of. And when you do, you don't see a lot of explanation of what they are, how they work. So I don't know, let me know in the comments if you've ever seen the fish carburetor and you know how they work and if you've got any advice for me.